Hi everyone, I'm Spider-Man 1991 here, and no, I am not a life model decoy. Let's get started with the comic books I read the week of February 12th, 2014. Starting off, we have, from DC Comics, we have Nightwing, number 28. Alright, what happens is, the girl that Dick Grayson's roommate Joey sometimes babysits for, Jen, her parents are... In this issue, we learn that her parents were mugged and killed, and when this happens, Jen stays with Joey, Dick, at their apartment, and when Dick has a moment in private with Jen, she tells him that she knows he's Nightwing, and that she says she wants him to help her find her parents' killer because she remembers what he looked like because she was there at the mugging and stuff, and Dick is a little stunned by this because she knows, and that this is almost exactly like the same thing that happened with him. And when he leaves the room for a moment to get a glass of water or something, his roommate Michael comes in, and Dick says like, "Oh hey, Jen's here because her parents were killed." And suddenly they notice Jen's not here, and they check Dick's room, and Dick notices that the part of the floor where he hides his Nightwing equipment, it's been opened. So obviously she took some of his equipment. And when Dick goes to tell Joey about it, she says that apparently the person who killed Jen's parents is Victor Zsasz. And also I want to point out that at the start of Forever Evil number 1, Dick Grayson Nightwing was shown bringing Victor Zsasz back to Gotham. So obviously everything that we've been reading to Nightwing has been right before the start of Forever Evil. Okay, Nightwing number 28 I think it was a good issue. The thing is, the issue also opened up with Nightwing fighting another one of his old foes, who you may remember from like the very beginning of the issue, that shapeshifter Spinebender, and now he's stuck fighting Victor Zsasz. Dick Grayson's move to Chicago was kind of about new beginnings. Now it seems like his old life in Gotham is starting to catch up with him. And also, Sonia Branch does make an appearance in this issue, where at first she visits Tony Zuko, then she talks to Dick Grayson about it. Very good moment there. Overall, this is pretty much everything that's happening with Nightwing before Forever Evil, and I think the way that the issue kind of set, and also Michael was in Dick's room when they found the hidden floor plate opened up. So I think maybe it's a possibility that Dick might have to tell his room, might end up having to reveal his secret to his roommates, and we don't know what's going to happen after that, and then everything with this issue, and I'm pretty sure the story's going to conclude in issue number 29 of Nightwing, and that's going to be everything with Nightwing up to Forever Evil. So, because Forever Evil number 6 is supposed to be dealing with the final fate of Nightwing, supposedly. Overall, great issue. Kyle Higgins is still doing a good job on this series. I'd say this is if you're reading Forever Evil, this is definitely a buy. Otherwise, it's a great series that still deserves a buy, and I'm very sad to see it go, and that we only have 2 issues left. Right, next up, Batman, number 28. Alright, we're taking a break from Zero. Pretty much for the past couple months, we've been seeing Zero Year. Now we're taking a break, and we're not just going back to the present, we're going 6 months into the future, because this issue ties into the weekly series that's coming out in Batman Eternal. We're seeing what's going to be happening there. We've got Harper Row is now in costume, and she's working with Batman. Don't worry, she's not. Even though her suit does look very similar, she is not the new Nightwing, nor is she the new Robin. And her alias is actually Bluebird. And also, we learned that Selina Kyle is now a crime lord in Gotham, and apparently there's some sort of virus that's been released on Gotham, and also Batman has someone else working the Batcomputer in the Batcave, who I think it might be Harper Row's brother. I'm not sure. And on the last page of this issue, we get a glimpse of the new 52 version of Stephanie Brown, aka Spoiler. So yeah, pretty great. I think that if you have any plans on reading Batman Eternal, or if you're on the fence about it, then you should get this issue. And if you're on the fence about it, decide whether or not you want to get this. This is going to be, Batman Eternal will be a weekly series. So, if you're on the fence whether or not you want to get this, then I'd say I'd say pick it up. Otherwise, if you don't care about Batman Eternal, you just want to get back to 0 Year, then I'd say skip it. But otherwise, it's a buy. Oh yeah, and if you're going to buy it just for Stephanie Brown, like not for 0 Year, not for Batman Eternal, if you just want Stephanie Brown, she only has 1 page. So so for that reason, just borrow it from a friend or look it up online. Alright, that's it for DC. Now it's time for Marvel with all new X-Men, number 23. Jean Grey is now taken to the Shi'ar Imperial Guard, who inform her that she's being tried for the crimes she committed as, well, her future self committed as Dark Phoenix. And also she's interrogated telepathically by some members of the guard. Meanwhile, the X-Men and the Guardians of the Galaxy are in space. The Guardians have picked up the X-Men. They're searching through space, trying to get to Jean, when suddenly they're attacked by a Shi'ar ship. They fight back, but fortunately they are saved thanks to interference by I'm saying this right, Corsair, aka Colonel Major Christopher Summers, aka Scott Summers' father, and his team known as the Starjammers. Okay, so pretty much Scott kind of realizes that it's his dad at the last, like, Corsair and the Starjammers appear at the last towards the end of the issue, so that's when, and Scott doesn't realize it's his dad until, well, he doesn't realize it for sure, but it sounds familiar when Star-Lord keeps talking to Corsair and keeps calling him Summers, so that makes Cyclops like, wait, Summers, and then he comes on the radio and says, "This is Major Christopher Summers, who's this?" And obviously bell ringing for Cyclops' head. And also Marvel has recently announced that, I believe after this story arc, Cyclops is going to get, not regular Cyclops, not present day Cyclops, young Cyclops is going to be getting his own ongoing series where the first story arc will deal with him going on a space adventure with his dad, which sounds very nice, you know. I think that'll be great. I think obviously Scott has had a lot to process since he was pulled from the past. I mean, especially since he found out he's basically like the new Magneto or whatever, and he killed Charles Xavier. So obviously I think a trip with his dad sounds pretty interesting. Also, this issue itself, not bad. Now I'd say it was great. It's a great little crossover between X-Men and Guardians. There are some funny moments between Iceman and Rocket Raccoon. Rocket Raccoon, most of the time the dialogue they share is really funny. And overall I would say get this issue I'd say this is probably a buy if you are still currently reading X-Men or Guardians of the Galaxy. Otherwise, borrow it from a friend. Next up, we have all new X-Factor, number 3. Alright, we finally learned who Quicksilver is working for outside of Serval, and it's Havoc, who pretty much wants to use Quicksilver just to keep an eye on Lorna to make sure she's safe. Also, when Quicksilver gets back to X-Factor, the team finds out Serval has them investigate theft, hacking, and theft from their servers, and pretty much Gambit recognizes who it was, and the guy who did it was Nil, a member of the Thieves Guild, and this pretty much puts Gambit in the position where he has to tell Polaris and Quicksilver that he's the new leader of the Thieves Guild. So they head to the island, which is pretty much like a sort of retreat for members of the guild, and when they get there, they confront Nil, and he admits that he did it, and the way he did it was that he apparently has Danger of the X-Men held captive, and is using her to help hack into computers and stuff. And so when they find Danger, Polaris frees her, but Danger, not really in a happy mood. She attacks them. And that's where the issue ends. Okay, we are still in sort of a... we're still in the phase of building the team up. I mean, we already have the 3 big guns who everyone recognizes, Quicksilver, Polaris, Gambit, on the team. Now we're getting into the other members, that Danger, some other people, so the team's still kind of getting together in a way. This was a great issue. I liked it. I really liked how Gambit was kind of like forced to tell his team that he is a member, that he's still the leader of the Thieves Guild, and also there's And also that the beginning with Havoc and Quicksilver is kind of funny, and also it's funny how Quicksilver like asks him like, why do you care so much, and whether or not are they still dating or something, but they're not, and Havoc still cares for her. So if you like the classic Peter David X Factor with the Havoc, Polaris, Quicksilver, then this has some moments you'll like. Also, if you're a fan of Gambit, that's another reason to check this out. So, fan of all those reasons, I'd say X Factor right now is definitely a buy. Alright, next up, She-Hulk #1. This is a very good issue. It's kind of difficult to summarize, but basically you're introduced. This issue does a great job. It's a first issue, and basically what it does is it just doesn't really set up a story arc. It just sets up more of who She-Hulk is. We get to see both sides of her. We get to see Jennifer Walters, the superhero She-Hulk, and we also get to see the other side, Jennifer Walters, the lawyer. And the only way I can summarize this is that at first she gets fired from her old law firm, but then after helping out, taking on another case where she went up against Tony Stark and eventually won, she decides to set up her own firm. So yeah, I guess I could summarize it, but I left a lot out. But it's a good issue. It really is. It gives you a good characterization of who She-Hulk is, who Jennifer Walters is, and I think this was a really great first issue, and this is something, and if you're looking for something new, something different from the all-new Marvel now, then I would say She-Hulk is definitely something that you should check out. It's definitely a buy. Alright, and finally the coup de grace, the one comic I've really been looking forward to this month. Superior Spider-Man #27, the start of Goblin Nation. It's here, finally. Alright, pretty much right when you open up this issue, it says 31 days later, and it shows the Goblins gang is just running amok about New York City. They're destroying, robbing everything, and Spider-Man is helpless because of the Goblin hacking the spider bots, and we finally get I think a legitimate explanation as to why it's not working. It's the one part of the spider bots that Otto Octavius didn't design. It's the facial recognition software that he got from Uatu Jackson. So Spider-Man goes to see Uatu. They're able to locate the thing Goblin did and also trace the signal. And Spider-Man goes to find the Green Goblin, and when he does, he meets him, and right when he gets there, the Green Goblin tells him that he knows he's really Dr. Octopus and offers him a deal, but Spider-Man says no. And right when Goblin attacks him, it's revealed that the Spider-Man he's been dealing with was just another hologram avatar, which if you read the two-parter with Interlude with Stunner, you'll know what I'm talking about. And the real Spider-Man is back at Spider Island, but he's not safe because right at that moment, the Goblin trio and Goblin Knight, Menace, and Carly Cooper, Goblinized, attack and basically level Spider Island. How are they able to do that? Well, apparently still Otto didn't fix the spider bots or any of the scanners because apparently none of the equipment on Spider Island could pick up the goblins either. And so basically they're able to successfully level Spider Island. Like the last page, it's just showing Spider Island's base destroyed. And meanwhile, though, can't forget about old Peter Parker, who's still wandering around the mindscape. Unfortunately, though, he's trying to hide, so Otto can't detect him. And what he does, though, is basically he only has about, and we now have an accurate account about how many Peter Parker memories are left. There's only about 31, and so Peter figures out the only way he can hide for Otto right now, and maybe think of a way to defeat him, is by going through Otto's memories. So yeah, so that's what Peter Parker's been doing. Okay, so Goblin Nation, right off the bat, part 1, bam, great opening. This was just a great opening. We got everything out in the open. We've got the Spider-Bot. We've got Spider-Man finally realizing there's a problem with the Spider-Bots. We've got the Goblin telling him that he knows who he really is, and we've got and Spider Island is destroyed. Kind of glad about that, although I honestly thought they would have kept Spider Island until the end of this story arc, and when it did end and Peter came back, he would have turned that over to the Avengers, and that would have been how he got back on the team, but oh well. And also, I forgot to mention this, but Jonah Jameson is apparently making a deal with Alchemax to think of a way to take care of both the Goblins and Spider-Man. So that's going to be something very interesting. So my guess is we're going to be dealing with a whole new Spider Slayer. But yeah, Goblin Nation, but Superior Spider-Man number 27. Serious, this is going to be the last story arc on Superior Spider-Man before we get Peter back. I highly recommend all Spider-Man fans read this arc because they're going to want to know how Peter can come back. And I'm still not entirely sure how it's going to work, but so far, I think it's going to be awesome. This issue is definitely a buy. Okay, so that's all. So those are all the comic books I read that came out this week. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. That helps me out a lot. And thank you. And trust me, I got other videos for you to watch, not just comic reviews, a couple of graphic novel reviews. Okay, again, thank you for watching. I'm Spider-Man 1991. See you later.